The day the ocean swallowed my certainties, it did not roar or rage, it breathed, slow and patient, as if it had been waiting for me to admit the truth I had buried under spreadsheets and deadlines. Salt hung in the air like a promise, and the sun pressed warmth into my shoulders while my life, neatly folded into routines, began to loosen its seams. That was the moment everything I thought I understood about respect, boundaries, and kindness began to change. Not because of what I saw, but because of what I finally learned to see. If you believe stories can heal, if you believe kindness and second chances still matter in a world that often rushes past both, take a moment now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to The Kindness Chronicles. Your support keeps these stories alive, and your voice helps them reach someone who needs them today. I had worked for her for 3 years, long enough to memorize the rhythm of her leadership and the careful distance she kept between professionalism and warmth. She was my boss, yes, but she was also a person whose life I only knew in fragments, early mornings before the office lights came on, late evenings when the sea of emails finally quieted, and the unspoken expectations that shaped every decision. When the company retreat was announced, a coastal break meant to reset our minds, I accepted with the same measured enthusiasm I gave to everything else. I told myself it was about team building, about strategy sessions with ocean views. I did not admit how the sea had always frightened me, or how being away from familiar walls made me feel exposed. The beach arrived like a wide-open page. White sand stretched into distance, the horizon a clean line dividing what was known from what was not. Colleagues laughed and scattered, shoes abandoned, schedules forgotten. I stayed close to the shade, my mind still ticking through tasks. She moved differently there, lighter somehow, as if the wind had lifted the weight she carried in. Boardrooms. I noticed how leadership can look like confidence until you see it resting, and then you realize how much strength it costs to hold it all the time. When she suggested the sea, it felt less like an invitation and more like a quiet challenge to myself. The water shimmered, blue and unassuming, and I followed because I was tired of saying no to experiences simply because they made me uneasy. The waves met us gently at first, cool around the ankles, then rising, coaxing us forward. There was laughter somewhere behind us, but out there the world narrowed to the sound of water and breath. It happened quickly and without spectacle. A wave tugged, fabric shifted, and the moment could have turned into embarrassment or something cheapened by attention. Instead, time slowed into awareness. I understood then that decency is not about averting your eyes in panic, but about choosing what kind of person you will be in the space between impulse and intention. The sea did not care. It kept moving. What mattered was the respect that had been quietly built over years of working side by side, the trust that asks for maturity without demanding words. I turned my attention to the horizon, not out of fear, but out of understanding. The situation passed as quickly as it came, leaving behind a strange calm. We stood there, water rising and falling, two people sharing an unspoken acknowledgement that dignity is something we offer each other, not something we take. In that moment, I saw her not as a title, not as an authority, but as a human being navigating a world that so often judges without mercy. Back on shore, the day unfolded with ordinary grace. Conversations deepened, laughter softened, and the team felt less like a hierarchy and more like a collection of lives intersecting. For me, the challenge had never been temptation or curiosity, it was learning how to carry responsibility with compassion. I had always believed professionalism meant distance, but the ocean taught me. It also means presence, knowing when to step forward and when to step back. As the retreat continued, I noticed changes in myself. I listened more carefully, spoke with more honesty, and allowed room for others to be imperfect. Work became less about proving worth and more about building something meaningful together. The sea had not taken anything from me, it had given me a clearer sense of who I wanted to be. Weeks later, back in the office, the memory lingered like a quiet compass. Leadership meetings felt different. Decisions carried the weight of people's lives, not just numbers. I realized that kindness is not loud, it is a series of small, respectful choices made when no one is watching. And second chances often arrive disguised as ordinary moments, asking only that we respond with integrity. Near the end of every story, there is a truth that refuses to be ignored. Mine was this: we are defined not by the moments that test us, but by the grace we bring to them. If this story moved you, if it reminded you of a time when respect changed everything, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to The Kindness Chronicles. Your engagement tells the world that these values still matter. Before you go, I have one special request. Drop a comment below with a line that speaks to you, something like, "Kindness is a choice," or "Respect changes lives." Let your words become part of this story's journey, and together, let's keep choosing compassion, even when the tide pulls unexpectedly.